Alright, yes. So, thank you for coming here. My name is Oriel, and I am what you might call a witch hunter. So, they've called me here to your village to determine if we have a witch in our midst. So, unlike other engagements that I've had, your village is unique in that you don't have anybody under suspicion already. So, it really could be any of you practicing witchcraft here. Typically, when I go to places such as this, you not tend to have somebody in mind already, which makes my job a lot easier. But basically, this will be more of a informal chat, if you would. Now, just because you're not necessarily under suspicion any more than anybody else, we are recommended, required even, to do a thorough investigation. Now, unlike horror stories you might have heard, this won't involve any kind of torture, no drowning with stones in your pockets, no burning at the stakes, nothing quite so grisly. This is just a chat, and if we decide that you are guilty of witchcraft, then we can go from there, but I don't foresee anything quite so terrible in your future, so I'm just going to start off by asking you a few questions, and just please answer honestly as you can, okay? So this first one's an easy one. If you could just give me your name. Perfect. And what is your occupation in the village? Okay. Rather boring, isn't it? Alright, so the next thing I would like for you to tell me is, have you been noticing strange things around the village? Of course, I've heard rumours from a lot of your neighbours, if you will, about certain things that they've seen going on around the village. And I'd just like to hear if you're also seeing these things, what types of things you're seeing, if there's anything different. So just give me kind of a rundown of everything you've noticed, okay? Alright. I'm sorry, what's that? Oh. No, never mind my eye. It's only a minor injury. It will be gone by tomorrow, I bet. Okay. So you say that you experienced some strange noises outside. You've seen some cloaked figures, that type of thing. That's pretty much in line with everything else I've been hearing, so is there anything else that you've noticed specifically? No, nothing else. Okay. Alright. Last question. Now, if you were to suspect someone of being a witch in your village, who might it be? Is there anyone specifically suspicious? Anyone who said anything rather odd? Your village healer, for instance, do they have any methods that might not be considered orthodox? Okay. Okay. And how so? Okay. Alright, perfect. That's all of the questions I needed to ask you specifically. I'd like to move on to the next part of the investigation, if you will. Now, there's certain things that we tend to see with witches, and I would just like to do a quick check on you for any scars or birthmarks that might be a little unnatural, don't have explanations, things of that nature. For instance, if you had an injury, of course, like, we would assume that you'd get a scar from that. But any birthmarks, any scars in strange places. So I'm just going to take a quick look at your face, your shoulders, your hands, for instance, to look for any scars, okay? Alright, so check under your hair. Okay, it looks like you do have a scar on your collarbone. Would you like to explain what that is from? I see. Okay. I suppose that makes enough sense, but I will have to take a note of it, okay? Alright. And now I also noticed a birthmark underneath your hair, just right up here by your hairline. Was that something that was always there? Yeah. You haven't particularly noticed it yourself. Understandable, it is under your hair. I'll just be making a note of it. Alright. Finally, we did notice a few things. Of course, in our routine search of all of your houses, there were a few things that stood out to us in your cottage that I would just like to ask you about. Of course, I've already made notes of all these things, but I'd just like to hear what your explanations might be. So first thing is that we found a couple of your bloodstones. Now, I don't know what exactly these are, but they don't seem natural. These are not quite natural stones, are they? They don't have any kind of greyness or brownness to them. This one is almost a little bit, not translucent necessarily, but you can, the light is kind of getting through it. These are not natural stones at all. So, what exactly are these, and what do you use them for? Why do you have them? Someone with your occupation, these certainly aren't gems. You would never have the coin to afford such a thing. These are unholy crystals. I'm certain of it. So, how did you come by these? You don't remember? Oh, well, which is it? Do you not remember? Or were they passed down to you? Interesting. Another thing that we found was this necklace of sorts. This, it appears to have fur, a claw, and perhaps a whisker in it. Is this the remnants of one of your old familiars, I wonder? Or is it some kind of spell that you carry around in a bottle? Potion ingredients, perhaps? We did find quite a few different types of herbs in your cottage as well, which, with your profession, isn't necessary. Cooking, you say? You must have quite the talent with all those herbs. So, what is this then? It's got an S charm on it as well. Is this, does it stand for sorcery? A spell? What is this? Interesting. You say this was your way of memorializing one of your deceased pets? That's a very odd way to do so. That's very odd. What does the S stand for then? Stitch. Your cat's name was Stitch. Okay. Well, sure. I'll make a note of it. But we did find quite a few other disturbing books. For instance, The Black Arts. The Black Arts. A concise history of witchcraft, demonology, astrology, alchemy, and other mystical practices throughout the ages. How would you explain having something like this in your possession? Not to mention Irish witchcraft and demonology. Yes. In addition, we found 2 of your grimoires, if you will. These. So how would you explain these? Full of spells. Recipes of potions. Well, there is one other thing that I wanted to show you. Something that we found in your cottage, and I'm especially interested to get your thoughts on it. This cat, a black cat, was living in your cottage. Is this your familiar? Or just an omen of witchcraft and bad luck? Misfortune. You claim that you've never seen this cat before. Really? Well, it was living in your cottage, so I would expect a little bit more of an explanation. Oh, you claim that the cat itself is the witch. I don't think that's quite possible. It's a cat. Surely. You claim it can transform. You're upsetting it. Well, it seems to me that your familiar didn't like being accused of witchcraft. So, what to do? I'm afraid I'll have to take this back to the council. Some of your explanations did make some sense. And I suppose if witches can transform, that one certainly made an exit at being accused. So we'll see what the council has to say when presented with the evidence that we've been given. We will take the cat to the council as well, so I hope you won't miss him too much. If he's deemed not a witch, then he will of course be returned to you, provided that you are also deemed not a witch. Okay, just as long as we understand each other. Alright, I think I have all the information I need, so thank you for being so forthcoming in your question answering, and we'll be in touch.